We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Welcome. My name is George Hassan, and you are watching Chai and Chat with George Hassan. Chai and Chat is the active voice of the Iranian American community. It and it's called the Vet Life,
Vet life, yes.
VET Vet Life,
LIFE.
LIFE.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful. Please join me in welcoming the aspiring rider, Mr. Dushal Moses.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. I definitely do. You started to talk about what's going on with veterans today and the world and all the different things that they're faced with, especially with the VAs. God is a great God, and He's given me the opportunity to bring a book to the stage called Vet Life, which will basically be the voice of the veterans for the most part. What I'm looking to do is bring multiple veterans together and kind of have their thoughts put to paper so we can share with each other. It's more like vets helping vets for the most part because what are what best person to listen to than somebody that kind of went to war with you and knew exactly what you were going through because you almost take on a different presence in life because you are living it from a different perspective. And we
True.
always say after the war is over with, we got to go back into the real world. Well, when we get back to that real world, life is a little bit different for us. So we have to find different mechanisms to kind of get back into space and see things from a normal standpoint. And I think vet life will help that.
One thing. Before I forget, I would like to thank you
Yes, sir.
for serving our country.
No, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Now, let's get to the where were you born? Were you are you a Los Angeles?
I'm actually not from Los Angeles. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My aspiring to be an actor and writer and producer kind of takes me to different states, and I've seen everything from Miami to now we're in LA. So I've had an opportunity to travel quite a bit in the midst of
That's
creating this brand. Yeah, for the
that's
most part.
good. So you did go also to school there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've been to multiple schools. I mean, I've been to school while I was in the military. That's a great thing, being a veteran and being able to deal with the
Right.
GI Bill.
Indeed.
Just recently, they have created programs that allow you to go back to school. That program being the VRAP, and that allowed me to go actually to Nashville, Tennessee, and I just graduated from the Nashville Film Institute. So the benefits just keep coming, just being a veteran. Definitely.
Beautiful, interesting. I was going to ask that because the father is coming. So are you a father? Or are you married?
I am a father. I'm not married. I'm divorced. I have a young lady, a daughter that's currently in college, and she's going to school. She wants to be a physical therapist, so she's doing everything within her power. She's actually going into her third year, so it's
So
going to be
happy
good.
Father's Day.
Definitely, I appreciate that. Happy Father's
Mr.
Day.
Marshall, same. Okay, let's talk about were you in the army? Where did you take your basic training at?
I took basic training in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, in Texas. So San Antonio, Texas, is where basic training happened. I actually had to go to Biloxi, Mississippi, as well for schooling before I actually went into my actual job. So tech school was in Biloxi, Mississippi. After everything was is done as far as basic and training, I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. So I was basically on a command base in Hampton, Virginia.
Big
Hampton, Virginia.
Texas is kind of dear to my heart because I spent 2 years at Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, Texas.
Oh,
Yes, as a medic, and also I work in special services, working as a translator, interpreter, and a lifeguard.
all of those different things. Now, how did you find time for all? That's a big difference between translating
Yes,
and
yes.
actually saving
Uh,
somebody's life as a
in
lifeguard.
fact, they kind of loaded me up with translating things that I didn't spend much as learning the medic
The
part of it.
medic part.
Yeah.
Okay,
But anyway, it was fun.
translating. So you got the opportunity to meet quite a few people.
Yes, yes.
That's
I didn't as a lifeguard. I saved one lady that actually the post we had I believe it's monthly magazine
hmm
that came and took our pictures. It was the first save of the year. It
Uh-huh.
was sometime in early June,
Right.
and I became famous there.
You became the
No, I'm
man.
talking just.
Great, great. That's great.
Did you had a chance to go overseas and?
I didn't actually go overseas. Most of all of my time was stateside. I did try to go into the career, and actually while we were in war, we were at Desert Storm, Desert Shield. When my number came up, the war was over, so I didn't have to actually touch the sand itself. So everything I did was stateside. Everything I did was stateside.
Uh, what inspired you to become a writer?
You know,
Was it the army life? Was it?
it was just life itself, honestly. Aside from vet life, I wrote a book called Life. Uh, some years passed, and life was living it from experience, Life. I wrote it based on my experience, but I realized my experience was yours. We just click at different times. And my whole purpose of making that book happen was that was my release. Uh, so all these different things that I had going on in my mind, in my head, and I was trying to figure out as I was growing up, um, God kind of came at me and He gave me the opportunity to release it through writing. Uh, I went and put together 120 different thoughts just of what I was feeling, and I took 20 of those thoughts and I made a book happen. Uh, Back of the book says, comprised with the understanding that no matter what age, sex, creed, or ethnic background, that we all tend to relate some point in time in life. And when I did that, it kind of opened up my world because it not only allowed me to release, but it allowed me to help others the same. Because I printed 2,000 copies and sold them just to test the book to see how people would relate to it, understanding that we would come back later and publish it worldwide. But those that actually became part of that 2,000, good example, I gave one to the mailman that used to deliver my mail, and every time
Hmm.
he would come and deliver the mail, he was crying.
That's the best, the word of mouth.
Yeah, and it was just based on what he got out of the book at that time. Because out of the 20 thoughts, one of them should touch you based on where you are in life today. So it was a good example. It was a good. It helped me just as much as I think it helped others as well.
Yes, there are some. At least I ran into some pitfalls as a writer writing
hmm
a book, and I was kind of a little green and
We all agreed at some point in
well,
time.
yeah, my first book, I just want to see it in print.
Right. To see
I
how it
want to see
looks, right?
whatever. It took me 9 years, and I did feel I'm using the word pitfall because I don't like to see someone else go through what I did.
Yeah, but you have to learn. I mean,
Indeed.
yeah. I learned just from the publishing standpoint because here we are. I'm writing my first book. I kind of know where I want to go with it. I'm self-publishing it. I decided to print 2,000 copies. They showed up at my house. So now I got 2,000 books in my living room saying, okay, what am I going to do with these books? And it's just so happened that, this through communication and hand to hand, and I actually did finally get some distributors involved, and I was selling those books so fast I had to go back to distributors and take them back from them to sell them because I was moving them myself. I didn't even need them at the time. As we move forward, you learn a little bit more. Those books won't be in my living room anymore.
Right.
I'll have a
Indeed.
presence for them
Indeed.
before I print them. But if you don't take this chance and you don't move on the action that you're having, how do you learn from it?
That's right.
So I mean, I'm glad I was green at that time. So now I can move forward and do it better.
Are you thinking of hiring a literary agent, getting some agent to push your books and also to uh, help you with the book reviews and speaking tours?
I am. I
Yeah,
am. I am. I'm definitely looking to get a whole lot more people
yeah,
involved in the process this time because we want to kind of connect with a whole lot more than I did the first time
yeah.
around. Whether it be not just literary agents and people, book covers and editing. I mean, all those different things you really have to think about when
Right.
you're putting the book together. And those were things that were not as known to me the first time around because I really was just trying to get the start out of my head. I wasn't looking at the business aspect of it. But today, as you move forward with marketing, and now we have the social networks that we didn't have back then, the Twitters and the Facebooks, all those different things. It helps you to just distribute your product a lot better. Definitely. So I want to get everybody I can involved this time around.
I, as an actor, you also have an age that people like me didn't did not or no. Uh, you're an actor,
I am an actor. Yeah, yeah,
and
definitely.
could you enhance a little bit about what you do exactly, or not exactly, but
Well, as an actor, it's another way for you to share your thoughts. Just from a different vision standpoint. I just recently did a commercial with USAA, which is the military side of insurance and things of that nature. It hasn't come out yet. It should be out in late June. But for the most part, that was another opportunity for me to communicate with the public. I mean, I was a paratrooper for the Air Force, getting ready to jump out of a plane. So now I had to go backwards in
but
life and put all that gear back on. And it kind of brought a lot of memories back. It's like, okay, here we are. This is just a commercial. This is not real life. But it symbolizes the same thing in life that we need to pay attention to. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different actors, coming through. The Denzels, the Brad Pitts, just being on the set with those different people and seeing how they deal with life themselves on set as an actor is a benefit to me as I learn and I grow. I will get the opportunity as God presents it to me to do a whole lot more with acting, but the focus right now is vet life. We need to make vet life happen so others can have a better life as well. So
yeah. And what is the prospect? What do you is it the book is in the hand of the editor now, or you still
we're actually creating that book right
you
now.
create it?
We're creating it, and I'm doing things a little different this time around. I wrote the entire book myself the first time. I would like to get other veterans involved with this book because my thoughts are one thought, but if I can have multiple veterans involved in this book, then I have a series of thoughts that ultimately may become one. So my thought is to take 20 different veterans, allow them to put 2 to 4 pages together so I can see where they are in life, not just as a veteran, but as a person. We may be struggling with different things in life that, we find hard to settle, to get done. I want this book to become the voice for that veteran. So we may be talking about what you did while you were in Desert Storm, or we may be talking about what you did yesterday, but it's still your thought and presence is where you are today in life. And I'm hopeful that with getting other veterans involved, we can create almost like a network, that uh, will allow us to not only motivate that veteran but help them at the same time. Those thoughts will also be illustrated in the book as well. And my thought is to, this may be a little bit harder, have 20 vets actually draw the illustrations as well. And if they're not drawing it, maybe there's a veteran somewhere in that family, because I'd like them to have an idea what a veteran really goes through while they're comprising that actual illustration. So my whole purpose in wanting to create Vet Life is to be able to speak to every veteran out there and show them that people are listening, even though most of the time they think they're not heard.
Well, if you are short some humor in my as a veteran, or
Yeah.
rather my army time was mostly a kind of a joke,
Yeah,
and I'm writing about it. So I'd be glad to contribute.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. I mean, and it's not all. I mean, I had happy times. Me going into the military was one of the best things that I did in my life because um, I kind of walked in the door thinking I knew everything. And that's how you are as a young individual. You figure, you got it together. And I walked in there with flat top and long goose because from New York, that's what was on at the time. And I realized I didn't know anything. They gave me a meal card, a place to live, paid me on the 1st and 15th, and they said, okay, now live your life. And you had to figure that out based on what you were now exposed to for the first time. When I went to the military, I got on an airplane for the first time. So all of those things were first for me, but I learned so much because of it. And now with Vet Life, hopefully I can open the door for others and let them share their words with somebody else, be it yourself or whoever the
Yeah,
case is.
it's a school actually. Going to army, it's a school of life.
It's a
Will
school of
teach
life.
you quite a bit,
They teach a
and
whole
not only
lot.
discipline, and but indeed it teaches you life,
Yeah, they teach you life. Yeah.
which is great.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed the time that I was in army, and now I'm benefiting from it, getting all the repairs done. I got a
Benefit.
brand new knee replacement.
You talk about knee replacement. I tore my Achilles tendon. I did that in 2003. I'm no longer in the military, but guess who sold me up? I mean, here we are playing basketball, and I rupture my thing, and I snap it completely. And a week later, I'm at the VA, and they're sewing me up, and they're not charging me $10,000 to do that, because I was a veteran.
Yeah,
The benefits of being a veteran.
yeah,
And I appreciate that. I really appreciate them doing that.
indeed, it's great. Uh, when the book actually is scheduled to come out,
It's
or
scheduled to
to
come
hit the
out
market
in November. It's scheduled to come out in November.
in November.
11/11 Veterans Day. That's when it's
Oh,
scheduled to come out.
that's picked a beautiful day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, here's one place that you could promote the book if you.
No, thank you.
We
I
have
think.
we have a large audience and viewers, and
Hmm.
also it's the Iranian American community, which is quite large, and I'm using the not using with the help of the Iranian American media that exposes the your, promotes the book in that area. Uh,
Definitely. I would say, would you be able, would you be able to help me with submissions? Because I'd love to maybe get some of that community involved in submission. We're taking submissions for the book as we speak. So I mean, if somebody out there wanted to put 4 pages together, they could actually email it to me, and then we can get the process started from there. So I am currently taking submissions for the book. And we're going to be doing this every year. So if it didn't make this book, it will make next year's book.
what is the kind of outstanding memory about your being in a
In the military,
yes.
what stands out more than anything is not a good story.
No, usually it's not.
It's a story of someone that used to work in my office. We at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, Hampton, Virginia, were the first to shoot down a plane when that war started. Everybody from our base went and came back. We didn't lose anybody, but we didn't lose anybody until they came back to the base. Now we have people cleaning guns, shooting themselves in the face or whatever the case is. But the one that touched me the most was I had a young lady that worked in the office with me. And she came home. She had some problems, but then she had family problems as well. Now, I was the honor guard, so When things happen in the military, I have to basically be the one to go help fold the flag and give that flag to that individual. But this young lady took it upon herself that day, one day, to drive to the local mall and park her car. She got in her car and she put her arm over her head on one side, and she shot from the other side. And she put her arm up because she didn't want the bullet to leave the vehicle. So
Oh my
she was
God.
looking forward to hurting herself, but not someone else. Now this woman sat where you sit right now in my office. Now, it's one thing to bury somebody you don't know. But when I just talked to you yesterday and they say, okay, Aaron Moses, we need you to go to North Carolina to bury this lady. This was somebody very close.
Oh,
So when you're on the battlefield and you witnessing death, it's one thing. But we're back in the States now, Hampton, Virginia,
yeah.
United States of America. And now this lady decides to take her life. So I had to fly to North Carolina. I had to bury that lady. Out of all the things I've been through in the military, I think that resonates with me more because she had a choice, but I don't know if she didn't have the support or whatever. I mean, if I was who I am today at that time and frame, hopefully I might have been able to help that part situation. But life changes in time, you know. So now I'm in a position to maybe help that next person make a better choice than she did back then.
Wonderful. Mm. You keep thinking, what happened? Why things like this happen that are so sad, so heartbreaking? And it just what goes what goes through their mind, or what happens that gets them to that point?
I think when you no longer control the lights in the room, it changes your thought process. When you're not in total control of the situation anymore and you think, okay, how do I get through tomorrow? I lost my job, the VA not helping me out, you know, I've got all these injuries because of this, that, and the other. How do I fix it? And a lot of times we're afraid to ask for help. I've been in many situations where I had to ask for help. I'm in that situation now. But if you are too stubborn or you feel, you know, like you're lessening
Some
yourself
case weak,
because a week, you know, we are here to help each other,
right?
whether we're in the military or not. We
Right.
were put here to help each other. When God created the earth, he was helping the next, you know. So we got to be humble enough to say, I need help. Help me. You know, it could be a word. It could just be you needing attention. But at the same time, maybe it will stop you with that first. I always tell people, think about what you just said, take a second, and I guarantee you say something different. Because you give yourself a minute to say, am I making the right decision or am I making the wrong decision? And I think when a lot of people take it upon themselves to jump out a window or shoot themselves or something like that, they're not giving themselves the opportunity to really have a good thought as to maybe there are better possibilities than what I'm going through right now. Life was given to us for a purpose. Don't waste it.
I met you at the VA a few days ago,
Yes, sir.
and indeed you impressed me the way you talk about life, about things happening. And I think I was right. I am right that asked you if you would like to join me on
No,
my show,
I thank you for the
and I'm glad you
opportunity.
did this. Indeed, uh, this is Chai and Chat with George Hassan. We'll be back with our guest, Mr. Deshaw Moses.
Thank you.
Welcome. My name is George Hassan. I should say welcome back. I am George Hassan, and you're watching Chai and Chat with George Hassan. Chai and Chat, the gateway to the Iranian American community. My guest today is, shall I say, welcome back. My guest what? My guest is a gentleman who is aspiring writer, is a veteran, an actor, and we're talking about his book, his upcoming book, that is called The Vet Life. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, if you had an opportunity to speak to 1 million veterans, what would you like to say?
I would say stay focused. Stay focused on your goals, your desires,
Yeah.
the challenges of life. No matter what happens in that day, there's going to be a better day. We all struggle. We all have to fight at different times within life. But I think for the most part, we have to stay focused because life changes every day. And you're going to learn a little bit more, the day before that's going to set you up for what's going to happen in your future. Um, I think I've had to battle with the understanding that I don't run this show. And I think we forget that. So we want to put ourselves in front of that because it's not happening fast enough.
Right. You think?
And I had to back up and say, okay, God, you lead, I follow. Every time I decided to do that, it was like it just happened. Every time I decided not to do that, it didn't happen. So I had to teach myself the deliverance of focus, the deliverance of, okay, staying on point with what you intended to do the first time around. Even though, okay, tomorrow I don't have any money, everything that I thought I was going to do, I can't do. But God is a powerful God, and I've seen him get me through some incredible situations just because I'm staying focused on what that goal is at that time.
You are a very sane, focused gentleman, a veteran. That
And
indeed is
but
a
it took
pleasure.
time. It took time for me to get there. I've always been focused. I've been running around like the rest of those, but in time you start to get the understanding.
Can I say something? One thing I've learned about the military when you said focus, because of course we all get unfocused
Unfocused.
and
Off
forget
track.
and get off track. But because of the military training, I was always able to resort back to the way they trained us to get that focus
focus.
focus back. Those are one of the many good things about being in the military.
Great things.
Yeah, great things to be in there, and so it's just practice.
It's practice.
It's practice.
7:29 is late.
Yeah.
In the military.
Yeah.
You start at 7:30. 7:29 is late.
Yeah.
So that's just to get you in order to what's at hand when you leave those gates.
Exactly. I get up biologically. My clock goes off 5 o'clock in the morning, regardless if I have something to do or not.
Right.
It's
trained.
I'm trained. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. I may lay down for a while and all that, but I'm up.
You're up.
I'm up. But I wanted to ask you, Deshaun, like if somebody wants to get your book, how do they get your book?
Life itself.
Yeah, Life itself.
Life itself is actually getting ready to go back into print.
Okay.
What we have printed, we have sold.
Oh,
So,
okay. You sold out.
So we sold out the first edition of it.
Okay.
I'm actually getting ready to bring it back, and somewhere around the same time as Vet Life. So
Okay.
hopefully, when Vet Life is on the table, Life will be on the table as well, and you
Okay.
can pick them both up at the same time, which will be November.
Good. All right, that's all I have to say right now. So go ahead. Back to you, George.
Yes, I am an immigrant. I came from the whole country when I was 23 years old, and I got immediately drafted into the army. But now the community of Iranian American community, there's a second and third generation young boys who were born and raised here. Uh, do you have a message, or most of them looking, of course, to uh, become a citizen in its terms of participating, becoming a police, and in fact, my daughter is a LAPD, and kind of contributing and become going into army. Do you have a suggestion or a message or anything that you had uh, experienced and have any message for them?
When you say experience, you were talking about as a civilian or as military?
Positive, negative, whatever you had or in the army, so uh, they
I
can
think
see that.
I think for the average youngster that's coming through the gate, I had an opportunity to go talk at a school not too long ago in Nashville, Tennessee. Created a program just to be able to see not just where the students were, but where the teachers were as well, see if the communication was there. I think a lot of times we want to move so fast that we forget a lot of different things. And if I had any suggestions for the younger community, I'd tell them to slow down long enough to get the information so that it could be a benefit to them versus a distraction. Because we all want to get there so fast. Here we were sitting with different teachers, and I'm trying to find out where the teachers are, in terms of how they communicate with their students. So I asked them a simple question. I said, "Is your student left-handed or right-handed? Which one is it?" They didn't know because they were not connected to that child. They were connected to the education, but it wasn't connected to the child.
Wow.
So you have to slow down long enough so you can pay attention to what is being put in front of you so you can learn from it.
When you say slow down, is that for the general uh, person
You thought
at large, or for the kids that
it doesn't matter where you're from.
are?
I mean, we live in a world that, we have different races, but we all speak the
Yeah,
same language.
very applicable.
Yeah. I wrote in the book, it says that the funny thing about life is how it's visual except for diversity. How we all look at life subjectively. How we all seem to experience different situations that contribute to life as a whole. However, when we look back at these events, we meditate on whether or not there was really any difference. We're structured by religion. We're structured by race. All these different things that try to separate us. But at the end of the day, we all speak the same language as to what we're trying to do in life, where we're trying to go. We're all going for the same interview. You walk in the door, you want the job. It's not just categories. It's 40 people sitting in the room trying to get one job.
Hmm.
So how is it that we all want the same job and we speak we live differently and all these different things? We actually are living somewhat the same. We just want to separate ourselves based on what the community wants to do for us. That's just a thought. But at the same time, we have to understand that life is beautiful.
Indeed.
It's beautiful.
Uh, I'm going back to the army days.
Hmm.
One thing that uh, usually people who are born and raised here, they have it a little bit easier uh, life, army life, than people who just came
Just
from
came from
another.
other countries.
Not only the language, as a second problem, but also the knowing the culture, the do's and don'ts, whatever. And I had I did things when I was in the army that I could have uh, I don't know, be court-martialed, but I
Is that
didn't.
because you didn't know the rules?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't know rules. Uh, I was kind of restless in a sense and mischievous. Yes,
What age were you?
what age?
Hmm.
23.
Okay. So that's the age I went through the same product. I didn't write life until I was 27. So
Not what I did.
27 life started to make more sense to me. But in the earlier years, I was trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, I no, the lifeguard type of thing. As I said, I I was known that this guy's. When you talk about lifeguard, those days that we had the uh, Red Cross
Mm-hmm.
who came in and they selected and we worked. They showed us how to do. Like for
How to,
instance, they put a big huge uh, metal box full of rocks and dropped it right in the middle,
and
and so you bring it up as if it's a person. And I'd
how
watch.
heavy? How heavy is that?
Pardon?
How heavy was it?
How high? That was probably about 150 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
At average, it's maybe a little more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like about 20 guys. They were all tall and built well, and I was the one, the shortest, the skinny guy, 114 pounds, bow-legged, standing,
Right.
hiding behind them. And
Well, you still have some
but
strength.
I managed to do that. I
Yeah.
managed to put the box right here and did exactly what they thought.
Yeah.
When the time came to swim from one end of the pool to other, see, kind of
Mm-hmm.
a race type of
Race,
thing.
race time.
Yeah. I jump in the water and go. Push, 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 push. I was going kind of not a straight. Most of them were going straight. I was going
You were
different lanes.
angles?
I made it. I was right up there before. So I got kind of said, oh, this guy's good. He's
Right.
gonna
He's gonna
good for
make
a
it.
lot."
Right. Right.
And they needed 4 people out of maybe 20, 25. I got.
You was one of the 4.
I was the
Wow. That's impressive.
yeah. And then
Even though you were going on a different direction, you,
oh,
you
I
got
did.
to the
I
same
did. I
place.
never did anything because I didn't know how. There was a little river next to back in old country.
Mm-hmm.
It is called Karun River. It's a very
Karun
famous,
River.
yeah.
Okay.
And I used to swim there, but nobody was there to watch or teach me to swim correctly.
To swim
I
correctly.
would go close my eyes and I just would
touch the
close
wall
it,
when you get
the
there.
other corner, stay in my line, and just swim fast. That's how I did. But anyway, I was like that. On my first day, there were usually 2 people there,
Uh-huh.
and we sent one guy to bring the lunch, the chow.
Child.
And I was sitting there alone. I was hoping that nobody gets, come here, gets
You
drowned or
drown and
whatever.
you
Yeah,
jump in
jump
there
in.
and try to save a life.
And here comes a young lady that she was kind of heavy,
Mm-hmm.
not more than 5'2", 5'3", but she was over 200 pounds, maybe
Big lady.
240, 250. Yeah,
Okay.
quite large. And then she went on the diving board, and I'm sitting there watching her. I said, I hope she's not going to jump. I hope she's not going to jump in. And the diving board was screaming. And
You
she
could hear
jumped right in the middle, and she didn't come up. And I'm watching, and I think, come on up. Finally, I dove in the water, and I forgot
Everything.
all the things that Red Cross taught us. That what do this, do that. They said one thing, that trying to distract her.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit her in the stomach to be able to to turn around, because she grabbed me and she was drowning me. Both were getting drowned
Right,
in the
right.
middle of the pool. And I did that and turned around. Then I went under her legs, both open,
Uh-huh.
and put it on my shoulder. Now she's up to here, above water, and I'm down there, trying to
Yeah.
crawling and right.
To get it,
And it
to
was
get it to
slicky
safety.
because the middle of the pool, it was kind of slicky, and I
Slick.
had a hard time to walk toward the ladder to get myself. I almost died.
Wow.
And she went and complained that
She
I hit her.
complained?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There was
you had a reason for doing
Oh,
that.
there was a party and going to a birthday something, and they were all kind of had a few drinks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, it was a lady that saw the whole thing, saw that I was almost died. So
Mhm.
she went up there and told them, because the husband came over and he was very upset that why I hit his
Yeah, but
wife.
he should have been
Yeah.
happy that he was
And
able to
it-
even have a complaint from his wife.
She talking to me. She said, "Hey, this poor guy, you look at him. He saved your
Yeah,
wife.
yeah. Would you rather her
And, yeah,
not?
almost died, and you coming here and anyway. Later on, they brought me some cake and
Mhm.
some food and apologized, and we became
Apologized. I
friends.
see.
And yeah, that's
Well, it was good that you were there and able to help that person. So
Yes.
that was a great thing.
that was one part of the
That's
thing
a,
that I
that's-
still have that magazine, the newspaper that has our pictures. And
Do you really?
yeah, I was standing like they took
I'd
pictures
love,
of
I'd
both
love,
of us.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, you
to
look
see
like number 10. I'm no one standing. I told her that and she just laughed.
She just like,
So, tell me a little bit about your acting career.
acting. Acting's been a part of my life for a very long time. I think some of the early things I did, and you see when you talk about acting, print, and all that stuff goes with it. So I mean, I've had the opportunity to work with the Howard Sterns while I was in New York and do things with that. But when you start to deal with commercials like Visa, with Tiger Woods, I've done things with uh, companies like Zephyr Hills, Chevy Silverado, different commercials. But also I had the opportunity to work with Tyrese Gibson in Too Fast, Too Furious. I think that was an interesting time because what people don't realize is what it really takes to put a film together.
That's right.
And here we are. I'm walking around with his tattoos because I'm playing him, in different roles. So if you were in a car and you see the car going and you don't see his face, and you see,
Okay, that's you.
That's me.
I have a question there. Since you said you did a lot of acting and films and commercial in New York, what's the difference for you between the two, from New York and out here, as far as that?
New York is more of a closed world. This is LA is spread out, and what I mean by that is, for you to get into an audition in New York, you kind of got to go up in that high rise.
Right.
It's a little harder. You can crash the audition in LA. It's really hard to crash it in New York. You actually have to be on that list. But there are a lot of ways for you to get there. I mean, a lot of people in New York do a lot of extra work because it gets them on the set faster. I've worked with countless people in New York just because of extra work.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy, he did a film not too long ago where they were in the high-rise building. The guy supposedly robbed them of all that stuff, kind of like Berto did in real life. And we shot that in New York. But I was an extra in that film. But I spent 30 days
doing that.
Doing that. They built a building inside of a building, and
Right.
we were there the whole time. So it opens your doors a lot easier than in New York. But New York has different ways for you to get in the door as well. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So you actively doing this in LA now?
I'm here.
You here?
I live here. I graduated from film school just last year, and God said, I need you here. He kind of made it happen. He told me, for the most part, after I graduated, I want you to drive to LA. And I said, drive to LA? Really? You serious?
Right. Yeah.
And 2,500 miles later, I'm here,
That's understandable because my story was from Philly, and my nephew, who's in the entertainment business, he came out here first with his family.
My daughter's from Philly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, his mom's, my sister came out there to help him out. So she was like, Van, you need to come out here, blah, blah, blah. And so I just asked God, and God said, go west, young man, go west.
Young man, wow.
And I'm a contractor. That's what I was doing back in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And it was a gentleman who owned a house across the street from me. And somebody didn't finish his bathroom floor. So he wanted me to finish it. So I told him, I said, normally I wouldn't do that. But I tell you what. You buy me a one-way ticket to L.A., and I'll finish your floor.
It's done.
And it's done. And he took me to Philadelphia International Airport, bought that ticket. I partied with the fellas for that last time, 4 o'clock in the morning. A lady friend of mine picked me up, took me to the airport, and here I am today.
And you did the floor here?
No. I did it in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia.
I did it across the street from where I live at.
And it's good being a contractor.
Yeah.
I say that from a lot of reasons. I can do some of the same things.
Yes.
Because as an actor, you find it hard to pay that rent sometimes because you're still trying to get it together. And I've walked into situations where the house wasn't completed, and I said, look, I'll put it together for you. I'll pay half the rent for the rest of the year. That's my money. You don't got to pay me a dime. I'll just take your materials and put them together.
Exactly.
A month and a half later, it was done, and then I paid $300 for that whole year. So
there you go.
It works as a benefit.
Exactly.
Mr. Marshall,
yes.
LA is happy to have you here.
yes. I'm glad to be here because, like I said, being a vet and coming out here, I found out real quickly the facilities and the programs they have for veterans. Available. I believe because of me being from where I'm from and having to deal with 4 seasons and coming out here and
Dealing with one.
dealing. No, I say two and a
Two.
half. Two, sometimes 3 seasons.
Okay.
You got spring, summer, and sometimes fall.
No winter.
No winter, no snow, no 30 and 20-degree weather as long as you stay in the southern part of California. So I was able to find these programs and use them, and that's what my show is about. And it's just one vet helping another vet.
If I could ask you a question.
Yes.
What was your experience like being a veteran?
From well, let me start from the beginning because I had a brother, God rest his soul, half brother. He was a first sergeant, a top at Fort Dix.
And what military branch?
Army.
Army, okay.
And so was he. And I had a cousin at the time. He was a lieutenant colonel. So they was in both ears, one on each ear, talking about what you're going to do after high school. What you're going to do after high school. You might as well come in with us. You know it's not now here. So to get them out my ear, I said, all right. And I'm glad I did. Basic training was interesting. I didn't know where I was at.
Where was basic?
Fort Jackson.
Fort Jackson.
They wanted to send me to Fort Dix. I said, nah, send me to some place where I can't get home when the drill sergeant get on me, and some place where I wouldn't normally pay to go.
Right.
So they sent me to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and it was a good experience and all that. Once I got to my regular duty station, that's when it was like, okay, I see the presidency in the military because I was in Fort Stewart Army Airfield, and I seen burning crosses, I seen plantations, got really upset, and all that kind of stuff. So, and I wanted to be a drill sergeant, but the negativity that I saw in the military at that time deterred me from
trying to be a drill sergeant.
A drill sergeant and to do 20 years. So after I did my 4, I was out.
You was out. Honorable?
Yes. Service connected as well. So it.
And what does service connected mean?
When you get hurt in the military. Yeah. When you get hurt in the military, you are eligible to receive some type of payment, compensation. For that injury. For that injury. So the depending on the extent of the injury is how many percentage that the government will determine
or allocate for
you. That you should be able to get. I just recently went from 20 to 30%.
Oh wow! Okay.
And thank God for that.
It's a blessing.
Yes. So it was a good experience and overall. So any young man or woman, I would give them the truth. I would let them know that I say, look, make sure that what you want to do, you can also apply out here. And there is program out here, I forget the name of it, that even if the person is a grunt or special forces, where that's all they do, they teach you how to change that into on a resume where it can apply to any type of job out here.
Oh, so almost give it a title?
Yes, because again, the average military personnel has supervision skills.
Yeah.
Right away.
From day one.
They teach you how to work under pressure.
That's what. I was gonna say something about that.
Yeah, I mean.
So you can deal with anything.
Deal with anything. Quick thinking off the top of your head. As soon as something happens, boom, you can find a solution.
Kind of like the negative stuff you was talking about. I went through that in Mississippi, Biloxi.
Yeah.
So going to tech school and we go out to the club, hanging out, and the next guy next to me don't really want me there,
Oh yeah.
But it's like, do you let it take away from you, or do you look at the advantage and benefit that you can get from it and make you a better person?
Oh yeah, we walked into places where the whole bar got quiet. Music stopped. The record scratched. Everybody looking at us, and I'm like, okay, I see Billy Bob over there. So and so over there. I don't think we belonging up in this joint.
Yeah.
We outnumbered. Let's turn around
and go.
And let's leave. You know what I mean? So
we didn't have to leave, but it got to a point of them spilling drinks on us and that kind of stuff. And
right.
I'm in tech school. I don't need the problems and stuff like that. So we left. But I mean, even in today's time, people are gonna tempt you, to do whatever they think you should and take you off your goal. And that's why I say stay focused,
Yeah.
because you don't know what the day's going to bring. But if you have the knowledge and the instructions from the higher power, you can get through
So
anything.
I have another one. So the book that you have coming out that will help a veteran or just help
It's going to
anybody.
help a vet for the most part because it's written by vets.
Okay.
So this is your fellow vet sharing his thoughts with you. You're, say, at the VA hospital, laying in a bed, don't thinking that tomorrow is going to bring you any knowledge. And you got a book laying next to you, called Vet Life that was written by somebody that just went through some of the same things you went through.
Okay.
I'm hoping that thought's going to motivate you to see there is another opportunity.
Okay. More or less, there is light at the end of that tunnel.
There's a lot of, yeah, you can turn the lights on and off yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
I was going to say, speaking about the VA hospitals you mentioned, what do you think of this? What's happening with the VA hospitals and the resignation of the VA head of VA affairs, uh, Honorable Eric uh, Shinseki,
Something like that.
Something like
something
that.
like that,
Something like
that
that.
he
Well,
resigned.
we had a problem. Somebody got to fix it.
You don't say
Simple as that.
Don't say
Exactly.
that.
Simple as that. He might be, good at certain other fields, but he wasn't the right man for the
For the
job.
job.
Simple
and,
as
and,
that.
and I read a little bit about it. He wanted to put a plan together and just kind of get us there. But you got to look at everything that got us to where we are right now and say, okay, do I trust it in your hands for the next 2 years for you to fix this? But how did we get here in the first place? Because a lot of what was being said, and this is all public, is that they were hiding, the time frames.
That's right. I know that.
The unlonger time frames.
I talked about
So
it too.
if you are allowing that to happen while you're in office, maybe you don't need to be in that office anymore, so we can find somebody that can do the job right.
Well, the problem, I see it that the problem does not get too high up. Whatever. First of all, I believe that it's not the problem of the President of the United States or the problem of the head of the VA affairs. It's each
It's everything.
local individual
office.
VA hospital. I had a case that I spoke about it 2 weeks ago that they kind of something happened during the operation, after the operation, and I wanted to see if my record, the record they keep, daily record they keep, if that mentioned it. The whole thing was wiped out
Wiped out.
totally, and its place said computer was out,
Computer was out.
and also mentioned that they have for with this man we have the handwritten notes, whatever it took. Usually what they do, they scan it and they incorporate it into the records, whatever they take.
Right.
In this case, you couldn't find that either. So there was nothing at all.
Everything's gone.
Yeah,
Wow.
all wiped out. And of course, I put in a claim, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it.
Did
And
you find out anything?
I'm putting pressure on him.
Okay.
No, just recently, and they are working on it, and I don't quite. I'm not quite comfortable with the VA investigator that's inside the same hospital that they kind of work together in a sense with their risk management desk and the attorneys who are there. They work, I believe they work together, and in fact I questioned that, and she said yes and no, but nevertheless. So I'm going to see if I can kind of look my other options and go outside of the VA and then get to the bottom of this thing. I'm trying to put some people together
and see
to have a vigilance committee to look into these things.
But that's strong in terms of what you just said about trying to put people together. I look at vet life for a lot of different reasons. Vet life is a current thought, but at the same time, it may be a current problem too. And I was speaking to a veteran just the other day that was having some problem with housing, and he's trying to get VASH, which is a program that allows you, the government, to pay part of your rent and stuff like that, taken care of. But he's been feeling like he's been getting to run around. It's been since I think he said March that he still hasn't got just a call to say this is what's going on. And I said to him, I said, well, vet life is your voice. This is your thoughts on paper. It doesn't have to be just about, well, when I was in, Iraq, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. It can be what's going on with your life right now. And how wonderful would it be that we are able to take your thought, put it on print, and share it with millions of people. And now it's not just you making that phone call.
You need to sound off.
It's everybody. Saying, okay, what's this problem? How we fix it? Like we go back to the gentleman that, they relieved him of his job. It's like sports, The coach probably is not the one that caused the problem, but they got to find a way to fix it. So they got to move and shift something out of play to say, okay, we are paying attention now. Now, it's just unfortunate that he loses his job because of that. But how do we fix it, And we have to change something to see something to get a better result from it.
I have another question on that. Well, piggyback on the VAST program, because I'm on VAST.
Okay.
I'm with the VAST. Now, the person you was referring to, is he homeless?
Yes.
Because that's the main criteria to.
Well, and it's funny.
To get it.
I've been kind of researching vets from a different perspective just to see how things are going. I can talk about what I've experienced as a vet, but God kind of wanted me to go out there and get it from a different perspective. So I've been around some of the shelters and stuff like that, just learning more about these different people. Now, he's not considered homeless from my understanding now because he's part of that shelter.
Which shelter is that?
Bell Shelter out in Bell, California.
Okay.
Now, it's funny how you don't have a home to go to, but because they're giving you a bed, I'm hearing you're not considered homeless anymore.
That's not true. I don't know about that certain county.
And I'm learning. So.
All right, because when I first got here, I stayed at the U.S. Vets here in Inglewood. And
how was that for you?
That was, I liked it, but I didn't like it.
Is that a roommate situation?
Yeah, man. They had us like 3 deep. Sometimes
in one room?
Four deep, yeah, in one room. That wasn't a comfortable situation.
And they make you pay for it, right?
If you make a certain income.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they want you to be on welfare and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but everybody doesn't have to be on welfare.
No, that's how they get you to pay for it. They take your food stamps, that kind of stuff.
Oh. Right.
Then I moved to the village of Gabrillo in Long Beach. Now, even though I was in that situation, for them to get their funding, we was categorized as homeless. All right. Now, to be qualified for VASH, that is the main thing. You have to be named homeless. Now, whether they are open or have the funds to take applicants, that's one thing. Now, they have certain priorities. When the vets are out there in Skid Row and all that, and downtown, and in those type of shelters, they have a higher priority than somebody who is staying at either U.S. Vets or the village of Gabrillo.
Why is that?
Because they need to get off. They want them to get off the streets. See, the village of Gabrillo and
but there's
US
housing down there too, right? It's not just the people that's lined up on the street down there.
But that type of shelter
is not good.
It's not as good as the village of Gabrillo and U.S. Vets. It's more of a controlled environment.
U.S. Vets, I don't know the other one you speak.
The village of Gabrillo is a complex out in Long Beach, right off of Santa Fe and PCH.
Okay.
And that's why they feel as though that's a higher priority than.
So they give them VAST, you saying?
They'll give them VAST, as a lot quicker. I was able to get it because they was taking applicants that was in my type of situation
at that time.
So and once I was in the program, it took me 30 days. You get your VAST voucher, and you got 90 days to go find a place to live.
It's totally different today.
So it must be different.
They want you to be homeless for a year.
Wow.
Before you get VAST.
So there's a lot changed since I've been on it, and I've been on it for a while.
Yeah, so I don't know how they dictate you've been homeless for a year,
exactly,
unless you just walk on the door and tell them that. But that's a long time to be on someone's street
yeah,
or bench or whatever the
exactly.
case.
survive.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. I believe we're running out of time.
I know.
My guest, Mr. Duchamp Moses, an actor, a writer, and I'm George Hassan. And thank you for allowing us to come into your home, bring you the chai and chat with George Hassan, the gateway to the Iranian American community. Until next week, God bless you.
All right. Thank you.